In October, the olives die without touch. The hands in Gaza are amputated. The kids no longer play. The singer is assassinated. The golden nectar no longer flows. The genocide turns 1 year old.
We're gathering here in sadness to mourn more fallen people in Palestine and Lebanon. The atrocities just seem to get worse and more brutal. We mourn Sha'ban al-Dalou, who was killed recently in a hospital tent in Gaza while receiving treatment for other wounds, and was fired upon and brutally murdered by the Israeli forces. He was a beautiful young man, loved by his family, loved by many, as all of these children and people are. How many families are left devastated and mourning for people who've been killed in such a merciless and brutal manner by Israel? We continue to try to fight to end the genocide, and sometimes it is so heavy and feels so hopeless. But we must continue.
I wanted to say that there is sad news that Sha'ban died alongside his mother, and more recently his 10-year-old brother succumbed to his burns on Friday, and was followed by their sister Farah. And what I notice is that there's so little information about these people whose lives were so precious to everyone. I was making a sign today called "They Are Not Numbers," and just going through the hundreds of pages of names of just children. There are 200 pages of babies' names alone, and they have magnificent names. The names of royalty, really. And I just think of all the hopes that those parents would have had for those children. And why do we remember Sha'ban? Why do we remember Hind Rajab? Why do we remember Rifat Al-Arir, Shireen Abu Akleh? Because someone helped us to know their names. And I want to really appreciate the very courageous journalists who are on the ground in these terrible times, putting themselves at great risk, living under extreme hardship, and being targeted on a almost daily basis. I have some poems. This one is called "Had Not This Year Gone By" Jumana Tassir Mugari from the Gaza Strip. Had not this year gone by, I'd never know that 365 days unfold in ink-black shadows, where lost dreams softly fold, in endless toil, where peace and joy forego. Had not this year gone by, I'd still believe that elders strive for youth's true noble gain, yet find their hollow speeches veils for our concealed pain, their words a mere deceptive weave like autumn leaves. Had not this year gone by, I'd be unaware of worthlessness that haunts the human soul, We die unheard, our cries dissolve in air, as scattered fragments echoing our silent toll. Had not this year gone by, I'd not discern a woman's heart where love and grief entwine, a child's laughter, a snapshot frozen in time, echoes through empty halls where memories chime. Had not this year gone by, I'd not have seen that man can weep and kiss the earth below. To mothers, wives with hearts laid bare and keen, in this year's truth their hidden sorrows show. Had not this year gone by, we might not tread the path that many souls have wandered through, yet still we find ourselves where hope is shed, as shadows linger, drawing us anew. This one is called I Was in Love with October by Basma Derwari. In October, as the summer said farewell, a shivering cold stood at the door. A young man walked the street of Omar al-Mukhtar. He turned toward Gaza's sea. The cold breezes touched his face. In that moment, October was a poem. In October, I taste the freedom of movement. I walk in a light rain on the streets of Zurich. I see the high reach of skyscrapers. I learn the difference between lake and sea, not from a map in a besieged city. Mamma mia, I eat ravioli for the first time. In this moment, I close my eyes and live forever. In October's, the olive trees waited for the touch of hands to turn their harvest into a golden nectar. Yazari Faltul sang where kids played, then gathered around for oven-fresh moshkin, rich in olive oil and spices. In that moment, no tree in the world was happier. In October, the olives die without touch. The hands in Gaza are amputated. The kids no longer play. The singer is assassinated. The golden nectar no longer flows. The genocide turns 1 year old.
So I tried to think of a poem that would be maybe somewhat of a solace, I guess. So in thinking of them, the families, the ones left behind, I chose this poem by Maya Angelou. It's called When Great Trees Fall. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. When great souls die, are killed, we breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, are killed, and a reality bound to them takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and unformed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, May it be so. Slowly and always irregularly, spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed. They existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed. Rest in peace and rest in power, Sha'ban al-Dalou and all the blameless martyrs.
The song that you just performed was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Gretch. It's delightful. I'm kind of crying a little bit. It's even if the hundreds of thousands of people that have been taken from us aren't able to have funerary rites, they aren't able to be buried in their homeland in a way that is dignified and honorable. It's so soothing and relieving to know that somewhere in the world there are people that care, that will light a flame for them, every single one of them, and will remember them. There's so much that you can pick apart, and there's so much that's wrong, that goes wrong in the world. I would say for better or for worse, but it's quite clearly for worse. There's so much happening day to day that is so awful, but being here with you all and being able to see how much we care for each other, how much we love each other. The world can't truly be that bad. I see the good in you, in all of you, in me. And we love those who were denied that love by people who see them as anything less than human, anything less than worthy. And I don't know what happens after we go. I don't know where we go. But I hope they hear us, and I hope they know that we love them with all our hearts.
In reading this, I send out hope and love for these poets and hope that they can write happy poems someday soon. O World, Do You Hear Me? By Ibrahim Yagi from the Gaza Strip. O world, do you hear me? O world, have you witnessed what transpired? The voices of truth tellers are silenced. Journalists' cries of alarm are dwindling. Their cameras lie broken on the streets. Their headlines and bylines buried beneath rubble. My heart pounds with urgency, but I will not let tears fall. The voices of our brave journalists, each holding the line. Wael El-Duda, Dadu, excuse me for my mispronunciation. You turned your camera to Al-Shifa, Hind Al-Qudri. You stood among the ruins of homes in Khan Yunis. Anas Al-Shraf, you pursued justice in the streets of Jabalia. Hosem Salem, you cried out among the fallen in Jabalia. Najwan Samir, you reported from the front lines of Shujaya. Hassan Eslaya, you stood firm in the alleys of Rafah. Freda El-Gu, you shone your light in the dark corners of Gaza City. Tamar El-Meshal, you fought with your pen in Gaza City. Bayan Abu Sultan, you brought hope among the broken walls of El-Shat's camp. Plestia, you chronicled our pain in the southern hills of Lebanon. Shireen Abu Akla, your spirit walks beside them all, as if each one is your daughter or son. Carrying your mission, your courage, let their pens be unbroken, let their voices remain unshaken. Continue to speak for us, deliver our message to the world. Comfort us with your voices, keep your vests on and promise us that we exist. Keep smiling, keep writing, keep Gaza alive. Do not let the olive tree burn. Protect our land with your words. No need to ask who's fallen. No need to wonder why I feel this weight. A hand rests on the shoulder of my vest marked press. I look up and there stands Ishmael Al-Ghul, the smile maker, the voice of Gaza. He sits beside me, wipes away my tears with eyes serene and an unwavering smile. He says, Ibrahim, they've taken me, but they've stolen something far greater, our homeland, our Palestine. Never lose your voice, your pen. Take my place, speak the truth, console the children, let the truth be heard. Tell Wael, Hind, Anas, Bassem, Bayan, Plestia, do not lose hope. Do not lose your voices. I am watching over all of you. Tell them the truth. Prove to the world that we exist as Palestinians. We will miss you, Ismail, but we will speak. We will write. Rest in peace, our beloved Ismail Al-Ghul, who was killed last week.